What's going on, guys? It's Sensei Adam, and welcome back to another Brawl Stars video. Today we're going to go ahead and rank every single super in the game from best to the worst. So S is the best and D is the worst, just like always. But first I have to say, guys, this was kind of really hard to rank because all of them have some unique uses, and I know I'm probably going to get some people that disagree with my opinions, and I know that's fine. So if you do have your opinions on which one should be the best and the worst, just leave it down in the comments because I always take my time to read every single one of your comments. So if you do enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more daily Brawl Stars content. But let's just get started. Now let's go ahead and start off with the D tier. Now, like I said before, it's hard to rank these, so we have to start somewhere, and these in my opinion are the worst supers. And at number 19 we have Piper. So the issue that I see with Piper super is the lack of consistency and how predictable it is. By consistency, I mean, say you're trying to use her super to break the wall. Sometimes the super is going to randomly go on one direction and not even break the wall that you want to break. And it's really annoying when that happens. Secondly, sometimes when you're trying to jump and run away, it's very predictable where you're going to land, and people usually just pre-fire in that little location where you're going to land at. Like, let's say an enemy Piper just shoots where they know you're going to land at, and you're going to instantly die. So it's not the best way to escape, I would say. So at number 18 we have Bull. And I was kind of on the fence whether to put him a little bit higher or not, because it does have some uses, but after thinking it over, I would say he kind of deserves being this low. Because this super, it's really annoying to use, and if you try and use the aggro, you can still be shot like as you're going, and it's really predictable where you're going to end up at. So people will just pre-fire where you're going to land at. Secondly, if you're trying to escape, they can still shoot you while you're at low HP and trying to run away. I wish like they had something like El Primo or Darryl, like his star power, where if you're trying to run away or use your super, you're not going to take too much damage while using it. That will make it a lot more useful. In at number 17, and I know a lot of people are probably going to disagree with me on this, and I have Bo. And the reason for that, I know at lower levels his mind might seem like it's really strong, but if you move on to like 300 plus trophy games, his mines are so easy to trigger. Like if you try and throw it at your opponent, you're usually just gonna go walk right on it, just trigger it and walk back, because it's very easy to see where it's being placed at. So my suggestions for Supercell, if they want to make this a little bit more useful, is to not show like the exact placement where the mines are going to be at. You know, when he throws the mines, it shows exactly to the opponents the exact spot that they have to go and trigger it and go back. So usually at the higher trophy games, you just see people throwing the mines over near the enemy, and you just walk on it, go back. Boom, the mines are gone. So that's my suggestion for Bo's super. Alright, let's go ahead and move on to the C tier. These are some supers that can be useful in some situations, but overall, like, their versatility isn't that great. So at number 16 we have Pam. And what did they do to Pam? They nerfed her so hard. They were trying to make her like more useful in game modes like Bounty or any other game mode. But in my opinion, they shouldn't do that. Her primary game mode, and the one that you're always going to see people play her, is in Smash and Grab. So I don't know what they were thinking trying to like diversify her and play her in other game modes, because they should focus on balancing her in Bounty. Specifically like countering Poco, because it's either you pick Pam or Poco to be your gem carrier in Smash and Grab. And I feel like they nerfed her way too much in Smash and Grab for her to be a viable option. Usually you're only going to see her in Crystal Cavern. And her super now, since they nerfed it, it's very easy to kill. It only takes a few shots. You're not going to see her super being as useful as Poco's super, in my opinion. In at number 15, we have Mortis. I would say his super is pretty unique because it's the only super in the game that offers a lifesteal property. Basically, it means you do damage and you take that damage back as health. So it's pretty unique in that matter. But I would say if you put Mortis' super in like almost every other brawler, it just wouldn't work. But for Mortis, it does, because if you hit his super on 2 or more people, you're only going to take 3 more hits to get another super. So that really helps with his attack. And it also helps when you're going in and just going aggro, getting that lifesteal back. It just aids you in staying alive for a lot longer. Along with his star power, it just gives him a lot more unexpected health that your opponent just has to deal with. So moving on to number 14, we have Rico. And I know his super and bouncing ability are pretty unique. Well, like him and Colt basically have the same super and attack, except Rico's can bounce. But other than that, it's pretty unique that he's the only character that can bounce. But the problem is, it's kind of hard to hit all of the super shots. especially if you're not hitting it in like a little corridor. You're not going to find yourself hitting all of those shots like all at once. You're going to be lucky if you hit like 4 or 5 of those to do like 2,000 damage. But other than that, you're not going to completely kill an enemy unless they're like really low on HP already with your super, or they find themselves in like a really narrow corridor. So I would say his super is kind of useful in certain maps where they have those narrow corridors, but other than that, in other maps, it's not that useful. Last but not least, on the seats here at number 13, we have Rico's human cousin, Colt. Now, Colt, it's different from Rico's super, but it's almost the same. But instead of going like in all different directions, it just goes in a straight line, like almost in a straight line. And it can also break walls. So you can use that property for him to be a lot more useful in game modes like Heist and also Brawl Ball for that wall breaking properties. But I would say it's kind of hard to do damage with that super, because most of the time you're going to find it hard, just like Rico, to hit more than 4 shots. Because unless people are really stupid and they just walk in a straight line to where you're going to be shooting at, you can just go in the opposite direction to where he's walking to start dodging that super. So at most, at higher trophy games, you're going to find it hard to hit a lot of your shots and recharge that super really fast. Alright, so let's go ahead and move on to the B tier. What we have here is usually brawlers that their supers are useful in a lot of different game modes. So probably 2+ game modes where their super are pretty useful. So at number 12, we have Primo. And his super currently, since they nerfed Mortis in Brawl Ball, he's probably one of the best goal scorers in that game mode because of his super. So what you usually do is just get your super loaded up, get the ball, and once you see an opening, just toss the ball at the wall, use your super to get near the ball, and if nobody gets to the ball in time from the enemy, you can just use your splash damage to push them away from the ball and shoot at the goal. So that's an instant goal. That's why currently you're seeing a lot of El Primos as the goal scorer. But also you can use his super in smash and grab to be like an aggro, or if you get the gems, you can also jump back to your base to get those gems to safety. So overall, I would say his super is pretty useful. In at number 11, we have Dynamite. Now, I was kind of torn where to put Dynamite at, because I know his super is really useful in Heist, especially for breaking those walls. But I don't see it being especially useful in other game modes where you have some faster brawlers playing in a lot, like Brawl Ball, Smash and Grab, or Bounty. But after thinking about it for a while, he does thrive in some of those other Smash and Grab maps where there's a bunch of walls that he can just hide behind, like Mushroom Cave. So we're reaching the halfway point and moving on to number 10. And I have Darryl. And I know a lot of people are probably going to be like, Darryl, I don't think his super is really useful because his role is kind of unpredictable. But think about it, guys. His super is probably one of the most strongest ones that you're probably going to see in Heist. Probably not at higher levels because people can predict it a lot more. But even so, it's still really useful. It's also extremely viable in Smash and Grab, where you can use it to like roll and get drop gems, or you can roll just back to your base to escape some dangers with gems. It's also useful in Smash and Grab for going aggro. So let's say they have the countdown and now 2 of them are just blocking the way, you have to try and get to the one in the back with all the gems. You can just use Darryl's super to force the other 2 that are guarding like the middle to go back, focus on you, and your teammates can just push up behind them to try and get their gem carrier. It's just useful in a lot of different ways. So now we move on to number 9. And I have to say, guys, all of the ones on the right, it's kind of like my personal opinion. I know their order like can be subjective, but I kind of had like a hard time ordering those in a specific order. But not for those on the left. The ones here, I believe these are the orders for the best supers in the game, because like all of them offer like a really unique thing to the game. So at number 9, we have Poco. Now his star power really complements his playstyle, which is a gem carrier / support and to keep his teammates alive. Especially now in the current Smash and Grab meta where it favors short range brawlers such as Nita and Spike, Poco really thrives in that. While somebody like Pam, she thrives when it's a long range meta like Colt or Rico, where they can just stay back near the heals and still do a pretty good amount of damage. While a character like Nita and Spike, they have to go up, so they can't benefit with Pam as much. So, and also Poco, he's kind of useful in Brawl Ball as well. If you guys didn't check out my Brawl Ball tier list, he's a really good, useful defensive player. So you can just stay back, prevent him from going to your base by doing that wide area damage, so it prevents him from going into your base with a lot of health. So to top off the B tier, And at number 8, we have Crow. Now, if you asked me like 2 months ago where Crow's super would have been, it would probably been like at the A or even S tier. You guys remember that super where it jumped really fast that they had to nerf it by like 20%. So yeah, his super was really amazing because it was really good at assassinating players. Like what you would do is just poison people to like 50% health, use that super where you like in an instant second just jumped right where they were at and it instantly killed them. So, but now it's kind of predictable where it's going to be at. Because they do have a little bit of reaction time to predict where you're going to land at and just start throwing and spamming where you're going to land at. But even with the nerf, I would say his super is still really useful in game modes like Smash and Grab and Bounty for that assassination property, and also game modes like Heist for jumping on the safe and providing that distraction for your teams to just go right behind you and do a lot of damage to that safe. Alright guys, so now we move on to the A tier. Now I have to say, like I said before, these top 7 are the ones I feel the most confident have the best super in the game. It's just a matter how you order them. So at number 7 we have Brock. Now you guys know Brock's super used to be extremely overpowered and broken, because you could load another super just from using your super. But they did nerf it a little bit, so it's now a little bit more tame. And now the meta is kind of like changed to short range brawler like Nita and Spike. So you don't see him as much in Smash and Grab, but you do see him dominate Bounty with that super. If you get somebody to low enough HP, you can just use that super to finish it off. And if you just get 2 hits off, now the next super is only going to take 3 hits to charge, which is pretty easy to do. So I would say his super is extremely viable, especially in Bounty. So moving on to number 6, and probably before he had one of the most powerful supers in the game, is Barley. Now if you guys remember, like back in September, October, his super was extremely devastating. They even had to nerf how much damage it does, and in the past balance changes, they nerfed his super throw speed by like 8% if I believe. Because if you guys remember, his super did so much damage and also was so devastating in that area control. And usually he got it extremely fast. Because I think they also nerfed like his super ability now only charges like 60% towards another super or something low like that. But before, his super always charged like halfway towards another super. So Barley used to always just get like that super 5 or 6 times in a game, or some crazy number like that. But now I would say his super is kind of balanced. It's strong and it does a lot of damage, especially in Heist towards the safe, but it also has its weaknesses. Kind of like if you throw it on the ground, a lot of people know to like try and make you go on the ground and just juke it, and now you're not going to charge anything towards another super. So I would say it's pretty balanced in the current state. Last up on the A tier, we have Nita. Now he's a super that changed a lot over the months. Because if you guys remember, it was probably one of the worst super back like 4 months ago. And if you guys remember in my balance changes, like I said, they probably should make Nita's bear a little bit faster. Because currently it's way too easy to dodge and it doesn't provide as much pressure. Well, that's what they did. They increased the speed from 500 to 550. So now it applies a lot more pressure and they have to deal with it almost immediately. So it pushes them back from the middle in Smash and Grab a lot more. And it's also very useful as kind of like a 4th player and pressure maker in Brawl Ball. So you can also play her there. So now we move on to the best of the best, the S tier. These are the ones I think have the best supers in the game and basically are the best attributes for each of those individual brawlers. At number 4 is Shelly. Now I think you guys saw me saying before, her super is what defines Shelly. Her regular attack is basically like Bull's attack, but it does a little bit less damage. And she has a little bit less health than Bull. So what makes her stand out for Bull? Well, of course it's her super. It's basically like an instant kill if you can use it right when you're next to somebody. And it also, if you do use it right next to somebody, it charges another one almost instantly. But it's only useful if you know how to use it. Like I said, try and use it when you're near somebody. Not like at its max range where it's not going to hit anybody. The only time you want to do that though is when you have her star power and you can hit all 3 opponents on that, so it makes them extremely slow and all of your teammates can just absolutely destroy them because they're all slow and they can't move. Moving on to the top 3, and at number 3 is Jessie. Now her super by itself is still pretty strong, especially in a game mode like Brawl Ball and also Smash and Grab, where like you can just place it somewhere and it's gonna block that entire lane and they have to deal with it almost immediately. But if you go ahead and add that star power, you guys know how annoying that spammy star power is, where people just start spamming that turret with the attack, it's really hard to deal with it. Moving on to number 2, we have Spike. Now, I don't think it's any question that Spike's super is extremely strong right now, especially if you can combine it with this star power, and we're going to get to it a little bit later. But Spike's super by itself, it's really easy to charge. I believe it takes only like 3 or 4 hits to charge, and if you just get one of those pellets that throws out from the main ball, it only takes 3 main hits to charge. So it's really simple to charge. And if you do throw it at somebody like a tank, you're going to charge it up really, really fast because they're just stuck in there. You're going to kill them and you're going to get another one, no problem. But if you combine that with the star power, you can go super aggro. You can just throw it straight at where you are against the tank, try and juke some shots, and just obliterate that tank, charge up another super, and kill him. And you're good to go. His super is just way too good like that. Now, the best super in the game, and I don't think there was any question on this, because all of you guys knew it already. The best super in the game has to be Terra. Her super, if you can combine it, it's an absolute monster. It just, even if you have it, people are going to be scared of you. They're going to be like, okay, watch out, Terra has her super, don't clump up, stay further apart. It's going to kind of like dictate your opponent's movement, because if you have it, they're not going to stay together. They're going to have to try and separate more. It's going to help your team out a lot more. If you do get 2 or more people, you can just throw it like close to you, get them both, use all 3 of your attacks which pierce them, so you can do a lot of damage and load up your super all over again. Usually if you get even 1 person in it and kill them, you're already going to load up halfway to another super. And currently Terra, just because of her super, she's very useful in 3 of the 5 main game modes. So Smash and Grab, Bounty, especially Brawl Ball, where she's probably one of the best brawlers in that game mode right now. So guys, what did you think of the list? Did you agree with me? Did you disagree with me? You guys can leave down your opinions in the comments, because I always make sure to read all of your comments and I try to reply to as many as I possibly can. So if you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more Brawl Stars content. But I'll see you guys next time. Peace.